Yes, it is true. You have stumbled across the greatest YouTube channel on the internet. Now, in this edition of the program, we are going to be doing what would be considered a full service on this vehicle. 2020 Delivery 9 LDV. So as usual, as soon as I start recording, there's a bunch of people that show up in the proximity, which makes this extremely awkward, but we're going to continue anyway, because who cares? So we're doing a full service. What that entails is checking over the whole vehicle, topping up all the fluids and changing some filters. So we got oil filter, we got high quality engine oil, we got an air filter, and we have the fuel filter. So the way I like to do this is essentially do the cleanest job first, so we don't dirty our hands. We'll change this first. As you can imagine, very straightforward. 2 clips, bang them off. Might have to loosen this up, but rip the old one out, chuck the new one in. I might just take this out completely. Disconnect that airflow meter. Don't forget to plug it back in. Anyway, so now we can do this. Alright, old one out. She's definitely a bit dirty. What I like to do, block the intake so nothing goes in there, and get the blower out and clean the airbox out. That way we don't have any dramas of getting our air filter dirty again really quickly. So I've gone with Ryco today. If you know anything about filters, Ryco is extremely good. New car warranties, so you can keep your new car warranty and use a really high quality filter. Now that is a nice filter. Nice and clean, can go straight back in, and that's what the benefit of removing that box completely is. I can actually make sure it's sitting properly, nice, flush, no dramas, airbox clean. And we can make sure it seals properly too. Just for the sake of not damaging anything. A little bit more clearance, and it only takes a second. And now I can lift it right up out of the way. Make sure nothing's catching. 1, 2. So that's sat there. These clips should be very easy to put on. Have a listen. See how easy that was? Same with this back one. Very easy. If you can't see the clips, I mean, I can probably see this. Grab yourself a magnet. It'll grab on like that. Let's pull it into position. And then this last one. Beautiful. Very simple job, but a couple of little things to make it a bit easier for everyone. Chuck this back on. Before you tighten this, throw this bolt back in. Do it by hand, a couple threads. So with this lined up correctly, remember that this air intake is based off a vacuum system, as in the turbo is sucking rather than blowing, if you know what I mean. And it doesn't have to be really too tight, just tight enough to keep it on and water and debris out. So don't go crazy tightening these. So that'll do there. Last piece of the puzzle, chuck this clip back on. Listen for that little click. Boom. And that is the air filter. All right, next job. All right, so fuel filter time. Now the fuel filter is actually in a really good spot on these. Underneath, right in the middle, plenty of access, but they can be a bitch to take off because sometimes they're so tight. Let me show you. So here's the fuel filter. Now, don't mind the bucket. I left my actual oil pan at the last job. But anyway, remove this to drain the fuel that's in there. It's a 30mm socket. It worked fine. A little bit of play, but these aren't on very tight. It's this one here. Now the way I took this off, many ways to do it. You can get some massive pliers to do it, will make life easier, but you do not want to break this housing. You do not want to break this housing. It will be super shit. I just use this, This is just a oil filter wrench or tool. You put it on and then you ratchet it off. Don't grab up here if you can with stuff, because it's actually quite thin. This is the thicker part here. So grab onto here and spin it, because I'm telling you, it's always on so tight you think you're gonna like rip it off the mounts, but it should come off. So let's pull it off. Not the best angle for you guys, but you can see what's going on. So obviously this is loose. There'll probably be a tiny bit of diesel that comes out. So remove this. Okay, there's not much. I already drained it before, so chuck that there. Grab this. So I've already loosened it again. It's like not super loose, but get that on in a position where you can turn it. Again, stick on that thick plastic. See what I'm talking about? It's just ridiculously tight, man. It always is. So that's why you just got to be careful. Take your time. Far out. Keep your hands above where the fluid's coming out, because it's just going to start really coming out. All right, that's it. All right, now obviously when you deal with this kind of stuff, it is critical to keep everything clean. As you can see, this fuel filter has never been changed. So we got the new one, place that to the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this out with brake clean, dry it, make sure there's no debris in it. From there we're going to reinstall the new O-ring, and then we're also going to chuck a new O-ring on this. This is now nice and clean, nice and dry. So I'm going to pull this guy. We are not going to break this seal until we're about to install it, because we just want to chuck it back in one hit with no contaminants. This is critical to this kind of stuff. Even more critical because I'm fucking out in the elements doing it mobile. Anyway, grab yourself a pick, pull this rubber seal off, throw in there. From there, grab the new one. What I'm going to do is just a little bit of grease on the seal, just to make sure it doesn't pinch on anything on reinstallation. This isn't going to contaminate anything. This isn't getting into the fuel system. So what you want to do is you want to chuck it about halfway, chuck it into the correct slot. And from there, make sure it's seated correctly. Cool. Now, this rubber O-ring will quickly change. I have to go and grab one from the car because, surprisingly, Ryco doesn't give me one. Pull this O-ring off. Don't not damage it, because worst case scenario, if you have to reuse it, you can, but obviously it's best to change them. Clean this with some brake clean, dry it off. So I got an O-ring here, bang on the exact same. Again, literally just a touch of grease, just to prevent any issues with pinching on reinstallation. I'm going to actually install this now and then tighten it up when it's in there. You see how it has to fit through this section here, and we do not want it to pinch. Now you just watch it go in. Perfect. Exactly what I want. Now remember, this is just like a composite plastic, so hand tight for now. If it leaks, tighten it down more. Have a look inside, make sure she's sealed up. From there, remove this, compare it, make sure it's the same. So anyway, then what I do is I will tighten it up as hard as I can, essentially by hand, to prevent how difficult it is coming off next time. Now obviously this looks like the original fuel filter to me, so all of those O-rings and stuff would have been stuck too. So that's what we're going to do. Now, so you're not just sitting there for ages cranking it, literally chuck the key in, turn it on, you'll hear the fuel pump off, on, and you hear it prime for about maybe 10 to 20 seconds. Then it'll stop, on, off. Then we go back, check for leaks. No leaks, looking good. Now, before we change the oil or do anything else, we're gonna fire it up, make sure it runs, and then I'll double check, make sure there's no leaks, and then we should be sweet. Don't be surprised if it doesn't start first go, if it cranks a few extra turns, just because there'll be air in the lines, but it'll purge itself back out when it recirculates, and you might hear some like air bubbling sounds coming into the tank. But let's give it a crack. She starts, have a listen. And then go back and have another look. Generally speaking, with the diesel system, if there's air leaks, it's just not going to run. It just, you know what I mean? Like, especially through the filter. Perhaps it might run, but at the end of the day, most of the time, say if you're doing like Prado or something and the fuel filter isn't sealed correctly, any air's getting in, it just won't run. Or if it does, it'll run and turn off, run and turn off. So we're all good there. No leaks. Now, let's change this oil. To make the oil come out easier, just loosen that off a bit. The way they've designed this is pretty annoying. It's just the way it goes. But you have to remove this plastic bash plate here because there's your sump plug. And if you don't, it'll go over everything. It is just 2 8mm, so get them out. And then you only have to move one side to have enough clearance for everything to work well. And these little screws here, most of the time they're missing. There's one in there, so remove that. Get your 17. There goes the oil. All right, so the oil is out. Now it's time to remove the oil filter. It's in a shit spot. It's down in there. If it hasn't been tightened too much, should be able to get it off. If it's super tight, we'll have to pull some of this crap out of the way. Also chuck something underneath because it will drop some oil. This did the trick again, guys. Grab one of these, man, they're so good. Anyway, it's loose. It's going to be some oil. There's a few cardboard boxes under there to catch it. Alright, it's off. A little bit of oil on the seal. Make sure that old seal has come off. I've done these before. Hand tight is enough. You just turn it all the way on and then crank it as hard as you can at this angle, and then you should be good. Alright, that's enough. Oil time. This way seems to work really well to fill these. Chuck that there. I do believe it is about 6.5 liters, but we'll check the dipstick. We're on a little bit of an angle here, but definitely needs a bit more. This is a 7-liter bottle, so we'll have a bit left over. Alright, check dipstick. This is the second pull. Boom, beautiful. Alright, that's sweet. Now go over everything, top up all the fluids, check everything else, brakes, the suspension, belts, this kind of stuff. I've done the brakes on this already, so I'm just going to have a little inspection, won't be needing it, and make sure there's nothing else this thing needs to get back on the road, because I didn't mention this is a Sunday. This dude's a career driver, so that's why I work on the Sundays with them, so then they can get their stuff sorted, so then they can keep going during the week. It's finished cleaning up. Just took it for a test drive, just to have a feel of everything. Checked over, everything's looking really good. New engine oil, fully synthetic, new oil filter, new air filter, a new fuel filter. Checked over all the brakes and all that are good. Triple checked there's no leaks, because we don't want to have any issues with that. So other than that, that's another job done. Filled out logbooks, this, that, the other. But anyway, another day done. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Check out the other stuff. If you want to get in contact with me, hit up this page here. If you want to buy something from a store I have, hit down below and check some stuff out. You'll love it. Anyway, thank you so much again, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.